sign at the entrance. I've gone out, met with them in the field, reviewed it. We've backed it up some from where they first wanted it. So it's 30 feet off the curb, so we're definitely out of the site triangle, and we're completely out of the right-of-way. It's going to be a brick structure to match the existing brick walls that they have. So we're just really asking for you to pass this by motion so they can start. They're going to have to get a zoning certificate and a building permit from the county for this.
Okay, I would make a motion. I would make a motion that we approve this plan for signage as submitted.
I'll second that.
Motion and second. Any further discussion?
Just to say that the Highmeyer Farm Civic Association has been very cooperative and very good to work with in this project.
Okay. Ms. Porter?
Mr. Barber?
Aye.
Mr. Connor?
Aye.
Mr. Weedman?
Aye. Okay.
Really, the only other thing I have is the Kenwood stone wall reconstruction. We talked about that before, and I believe we have a resolution for that in a little bit here.
Okay.
Business.
Retaining wall,
Yeah, the stone wall at the corner.
southeast corner.
Yes.
Okay.
So unless you have any questions.
Any questions? Law Director report.
Thank you, Mr. Weedman. Just three quick matters to update. We had the property maintenance code violation at 6066 Bayberry Drive for the property Jeffrey and Melissa Smith. The court did approve our motion for contempt and has given us a limited right of entry to go into the property and fill the holes that are in that property.
Oh, great.
And so my understanding is that's going to, at least the practical, the scope of the project and the discussion about what needs to be done to start after the festival this weekend.
Okay, perfect.
We do have our business resident at 3900 Galbraith Road, who we have had ongoing litigation with. That business resident has once again violated the order regarding the vehicles on the lot. So recently a motion for contempt was filed. We've done this several times in the past and been very successful. The hearing on that is scheduled for July 23rd at 10 a.m. Finally, we do have the appeal of the BZA decision denying the conditional use permit that Muller High School put into the parking lot. I think this is a positive development. We have gotten all parties to sign on to doing mediation. And Judge Bressler from over in Butler County, who is an excellent mediator, will be doing that mediation. We hope he will do the mediation. I reached out to him today to ask him if he would take it. Yeah. Thank you very much.
All right, any questions? Administrator report.
The only thing I have is one PO for the fire department for the city band radios in the amount of $34,497.70.
Motion to approve.
Motion and a second. Do we have a second?
Move second.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion? Mr. Porter?
Mr. Barber?
Aye.
Mr. Connor?
Aye.
Mr. Weedman?
Aye. Planning and zoning report.
Okay, I've got a couple things for clarity for the board, if you wouldn't mind. I do have them in order. So I will, and this is in regards to a question that I received at the last trustee meeting in regards to our permitting process, the timeline that goes with inspections and so on. So I'm just going to briefly explain what the attached sheets are. So the first one is actually our permit. So when somebody applies for a permit, this is the form that they get. The item that I have highlighted in the comment line basically says foundation and final inspections required. So the person in this case who signed it was Mary Ashcraft. That was a permit for a room addition, and went through all the proper channels, had the plans, submitted them, we reviewed them, and so on. As you look at the second sheet, there's an additional note on there that basically says, this letter is to advise anyone who receives a zoning permit or calls the Office of Planning and Zoning for a foundation and final inspection, and then we give the number. So the reason for that letter is to actually help the residents as a reminder that when they get a permit, The third sheet is actually, through what we call Cages. It's a permitting software that we use that the board gave us permission to bring on years and years ago. And we've got it critiqued. It does a very good job. It helps us to manage our permits, keep track of the fees, keep track of if we declare a property a nuisance and so on. So the item that I've got circled there, it basically says zoning certificate dates, and it gives us the timeline. So there's when they applied, when the permit was approved, when it was paid, when the permit was issued, and so on. So in this case, you can see this specific permit was issued in July 16, 2014. The final was received on June 25th, 2015, and that was after a call that we received from the property owner. Now, after that, and this was the one that came in question.
Harry, can you say that again? That was, 625 was,
2015.
yeah, so that was from a call from the,
Yeah.
Property owner.
The property owner called and says,
Okay.
hey, I need a final
Right,
for my
okay.
room addition. Now, the second sheet, which was the one I think there was a question about in regards to, is 16 years our standard timeline to do inspections? And it's not. In this case, it was a 2016 permit, which means the permit was issued in 2016. And again, the process is the same. You get a permit, even in this case it was a fence. We highlight some of the things, you know, the finished side is the face out and so on. And then if you look at the next sheet again, we give the reminder to the resident that, hey, call for a final. So in this case, this was one of those where the owner didn't call for a final. So what our office does is at the end of each year, we pull out all the plans that have received their finals, because we put a sticker on the folders. We then file those downstairs. We have to keep them for 7 years. The ones that have not received a final, I collect all those. I do what I call an audit. And then each year, we have all those permits. Well, it was a great training tool this year for our new inspector, because we had over 100 permits that didn't get finals. So, like I said, it was a great training tool. I gave him the residential ones to start out with. We went out, we reviewed those, we finalized a lot of them. And then the question came up of 16 years, and it had to do with this permit. So I just wanted to let everybody, we do follow procedures, and I think the software has made it very easy for us to keep track of these things. It's a great software package. In this case, they applied in February 2016. It was approved on the 9th, which was the same day. It was issued on the 9th. And then in 2017, that said actually expired. We don't know if the work was done or not, because the owner never called us.
Right.
So again, we did an audit. We had all these permits. We go through them, and on 12/17/2018, we went out and we approved it. So we signed the permit, finalized the permit, and closed it out. So I just didn't want the board to, you know what I really wanted, I wanted the board to know that the decisions they made about this software was a very good one, because it helps us keep track of everything as far as permitting, property maintenance. We have it all under one envelope, and it's very easy to follow the logic behind it. So
a
that was one.
16-year complaint was not really a 16-year.
Now, let me make a comment,
Okay.
because I was one who brought it up, it wasn't 16, it was 9.5 years. And I did go back to the neighbor, Pat Ashcraft, because I live on Westover, and I asked him, I said, during the meeting, they said it was 2 years. And he said, well, in fact, I had a secondary fence put up 2 years ago,
Okay,
but it wasn't you, it was Kevin Clark who came by to inspect.
exactly.
But he never looked at that secondary fence, he looked at the other fence, because he was out in the yard watching it. And he was inspecting the fence that was put up 9.5 years ago. So maybe there's some miscommunication on that.
Oh.
But that's the case there, that, because I asked Pat and Mary, I said, exactly what I just said. Was it 2 years? It was only 2 years. No, he didn't, he looked at that fence. He said, no, he didn't look at that fence, he looked at the other fence, the main fence that was 9.5 years.
So
So it might have been with Kevin making a mistake, or
well,
maybe the neighbor did.
in this case, we don't have a permit for a fence that was put up 9.5 years ago. So I would say that one was put up illegally.
No, he said you filled all the paperwork.
Okay, well, I mean,
So that's what they told me.
yeah, we keep everything electronically forever. We got Excel spreadsheets, and now everything's been transferred to this, but I just wanted the board to be confident in our ability to go out and do final inspections. Kevin's came a long way from where he was, and we put him through a pretty good training process, I think, in regards to, right now, he's only doing residential. We're phasing him into doing commercial. He did the festival, we did All Saints together, so I think he's doing a really good job. And the challenge for us is, no matter how hard we try, no matter how many times we highlight, or somebody said we need to put sparkles on our permit that says, please call for a final, because we still get, and it's not just residential, it's commercial too. Some commercial, all of a sudden they go for their building permit final, and the county says, well, wait a minute, you gotta get the township to sign off on it. Well, that's true, we're the first ones in, we're the last ones out. So, anyway, I think our system works pretty good, and that's why I gave this outline here.
Great, thank you, appreciate that.
The other thing, which again, this one will be much faster, I promise. So, we had a complaint regarding the properties on Frolic, Kenwood, and Happiness. So I immediately reached out to the owner of the property. He immediately came back with, let's meet out there, tell me what you want, but do me a favor, get the resident to tell what her concerns are, and we'll address each one of them. So the resident took a tremendous amount of time. I really appreciate her effort. We went out there, Kevin and I, we did our own inspection, and we basically compared notes to the resident. So we found some things that she didn't have, she found some things that we didn't have. We put them all together, and then we met out there, Kevin and I, the inspector, and met with Brian and two of his laborers, and went property to property. That weekend, he had a crew out there trimming the trees and cleaning the sidewalks. So, I just wanted the board to know, we are doing everything we can to try to address every property maintenance complaint that we can. We have 20,000 residents, that's not counting our business community. We have a lot of properties. The bank-owned properties, they're horrible. The banks don't help us at all. I deal with a lot of different property managers, and occasionally you'll get one who's very receptive, and they'll say, thank you for bringing this to our attention, we'll try to take care of it. So again, it's just an FYI for the board. This goes along with our other software. I think we got a pretty good thing going with our software package and how we manage property maintenance, how we abate conditions. And I've said this before, there's a lot of communities that come to us and ask why we're so successful, how we take it to the court level, and there's actually prosecution. We've got that arm, and that's thanks to the Board of Trustees. So thank you for allowing our department to have the flexibility to help our community keep their property values high, and to help them keep, one of the largest investments that our community has is probably their homes and their property. So that's thank you guys, so thank you.
Thank you. Any questions or comments? Next item is communications, Mr. Porter.
No communications.
There is no old business, new business, zoning case number 2019-06P2. Do we have a motion?
I would like to make a motion that we ask the law director to prepare a resolution approving the application with a few conditions. First of all, I believe there were 4 non-conforming items that were mentioned in staff report, and I would ask that we offer relief on all 4 of them. Secondly, I'm going to say the 3 conditions that the zoning commission recommend. The first one had to do with tree planting as an alternative if we granted relief on the landscaping. And I think judging from our conversations this evening, I'd like to see that the relief from landscaping be tied to a plan for some additional seating and trash receptacles, a plan that could be approved by staff. Thirdly, the easement requirement that was mentioned in the zoning commission recommendations. And fourthly, the exit lane be exit only, the exit lane from the drive-through be exit only as indicated in the recommendations, pending, of course, any different determinations by ODOT. But
Well, I'd like to answer that, the directional signs, they can't have the name, allow them to have the name graders on it.
that was one of the conditions,
Okay,
that was one of the
you said
non-conformings.
that.
Yeah,
And then the other temporary banners.
that's also the non-conforming, yeah, that's one of the four.
We'll do that, and then I like Mr. Weedman's idea that you included in that with park
Yeah.
benches,
Mhm.
and that they would maintain the trash.
Can
Okay. Yeah.
I don't wanna take on the responsibility.
One second, Richard.
Okay.
We have a motion, do we have a second?
We have a second.
Okay,
now-
motion is second, would you like to comment?
Well, yeah, I think that the request was to add additional seating and the trash receptacles, but I do not want graders to be responsible for emptying the trash, because that will immediately create some labor issues for us, because we'd be off-site. So I would just ask that, we would expect the township to empty the trash of receptacles on their property. And if I heard Mr. LaBarber correct, I just heard that word maintain the trash receptacles. I don't want us to be responsible for emptying the trash on the trash receptacles.
Richard, you think that the majority of the trash is gonna be from graders in those trash cans?
It really creates an insurance issue. I don't wanna make light of it, because we have employees then leaving our site, and if something happens on township property, it's crazier things have happened, and I wanna make sure that the commitment I was making, which I had agreed to, was to add the picnic benches and the trash receptacles, but I was not agreeing to actual emptying of the trash. And that may seem like a small thing or a trivial thing, but the township employees are obviously there if they're doing their job, and it's not debating who has more trash in the can, whether it's graders or some family that just wants to have a picnic and they don't buy anything from graders. We're not disputing that. But it's a legal issue that caught my ear. As soon as I heard that maintain, that's why I wanted to jump on.
Trace, any issues with that?
Not really.
Okay, we're good.
Okay, thank you.
We have a motion and a second, any other questions, further discussion?
Do we want to amend the motion to remove that piece of it?
Yes, we do.
Did
you actually have it in there?
Actually, I didn't have it in mind, that was something
Oh,
that
he had
Jim had
suggested
mentioned.
that.
And John had suggested originally.
Yeah,
right?
well, but the condition that I had talked about was that in exchange for relief from landscape buffer, that there be the addition of seating area and trash receptacles, a plan to be approved by staff.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay,
I mean,
okay. Any further discussion? Mr. Porter?
Mr. LaBarber?
Yes.
Mr. Connor?
Aye.
Mr. Weedman?
Aye. Next, we have a resolution for authorizing removal of vegetation garbage refuge. You wanna read that one?
Do you have those?
I do not have the first two, I've got the third one.
I will be happy to. You both.
Thank you.
And they do have photographs.
Mr. Reedman, the first one is a resolution providing for and authorizing removal of vegetation, garbage, refuse, and other debris, and declaring a nuisance for the property located at 11983 4th Avenue, Sycamore Township, Ohio, 45249.
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve, I'll let you see the pictures.
Is that dispensing with the second reading and declaring an emergency?
Let's see, so we are dispensing with the second reading. We are not doing an emergency on this.
Okay. We have a motion, do we have a second?
We have a second.
Okay, motion is second, any further discussion? Mr. Porter?
Mr. LaBarber?
Aye.
Mr. Connor?
Aye.
Mr. Weedman?
Aye.
Second resolution is a resolution providing for and authorizing removal of vegetation, garbage, refuse, and other debris, and declaring a nuisance for the property located at 4316 Sycamore Road, Sycamore Township, Ohio, 45236. The motion does dispense with the second reading.
Motion.
Second.
Motion is second, any further discussion? Mr. Porter?
Mr. LaBarber?
Aye.
Mr. Connor?
Aye.
Mr. Weedman?
Aye.
Thank you.
And I did separate out the picture to send down, so people can see it, so it needs to be reattached to this.
Oh, okay, so that was on the back side of it. Give me the picture on the outside.
Oh, yeah, that's, yeah, that's
And
not.
I have a handy paper for that.
Perfect. Okay,
We have a third resolution.
yes, we do.
Third resolution is a resolution approving a contract for the repair of a retaining wall on Kenwood Road and dispensing with a second reading. Attached to the contract, attached to the resolution is the contract for the wall.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Motion and second, any further discussion? Mr. Porter?
Mr. LaBarber?
Aye.
Mr. Connor?
Aye.
Mr. Weedman?
Aye.
Quick question, board. Deepak, are you signing for Mr. Miller? Because his, okay.
And the one that's coming through on the wall, it's got, 2 copies of the contracts. So I'm gonna be giving the contracts and all back to you, Tracy.
Okay, we're at trustee comments. Mr. LaBarber, you have anything?
Just had a good time on Willie's show with the Stu's report, my first time ever representing the township. It was fun. Talked about David Freiberg, the original from Jefferson Starship, will be there on Saturday night. Gracie Slick will not, she's retired. She's 80 years old. But she has personal, person that she has selected, who's been in the business with the Starship for the last decade. So it should be really good.
Okay.
Yeah, I've got two things real quick. Number one, reminder that our community forum that we're working with, Prevention First, along with the Deer Park School System and Bridge of Hope Church, is August 27th. We're meeting with all of the leaders of those organizations next week to move plans forward. We'll start to see more communications, more promotion of the event as we get closer to that August 27th date. And the other thing is that I was contacted by